crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, Roota.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. It's a good day for singing the blues. It's a good day. But it is the first day of a long unwinding of the criminal silver manipulation. I hope everybody understands how big this is. I hope everybody on the road to Roota has a substantial amount of physical silver in your own possession only. No, nothing else will pay off. Why? Because when the banks fail or when silver goes climbing $10, $20, $30 days, you're not going to be able to get your silver if somebody else holds it. I don't care how nice they are. First thing that the guards are going to do of that vault are going to go in there and take the silver to take care of their own family. That's how important this is. That's why they've held silver price down for over 100 years. Is that if you have a freely traded commodity like gold and silver, which is an alternative to the US dollar, the alternative to fiat money, you have to keep that price in check or else the system falls apart in 8 to 10 years. It should have fallen apart in 1980 when the Hunt brothers only took off about 100 million ounces of physical. And JP Morgan has taken off over $1 billion. But now I think Ted's right that they have come to an agreement with the DOJ. They gave back 250 million ounces that has gone into the silver ETFs in the name of the other criminal shorts. So they're trying to extract themselves from this really complicated mess. But what does it mean in the future is silver is not going to be as manipulated as it has been. I still think it will be manipulated on the way up. But that's where we are right now. The key is the supply is almost gone because people only buy when silver's going up. Whatever you do, whatever you think about trading and all that, do the opposite of what everybody does. People only buy silver when it's going up. Were they buying it $12? No. Oh, the premium's too high. It's a $5 premium. Well, that would have got you $17 silver, and now you got to get $30 silver. The premiums are still high. But hey, let's just talk about. Here is a quote from my fourth book called The Silver Lining. And this is William Shakespeare. Cliff first introduced me to this when we were talking about Bitcoin investing. And it is extremely interesting and extremely true. I mean, this was like 2012, 2013 that Cliff turned me onto this. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea we are now afloat, and we must take our current when it serves or lose our ventures. Read that a few times. Order the book. Go to roadrunner.com, go to the general store, and order the book. You can get all 4 books, actually. This is book number 4, The Silver Lining. The Silver Lining. Hint, hint, hint. Here, let me show you it's a PDF book, so you can order it right online. Conversations with God about gold and silver. That's the cover of it. I love this. This is the yellow brick road with the silver cave. I love that picture. But let me tell you about the chapters. This is book 4 in my series, For God and Country. There you go. That sums it up. 1, the silver brick road. The first chapter will blow your socks off. Bitcoin and the Chinese millennial. Roota's Teacher's Guide, Magic Markets, Full Stop Crash, Firing the Nanny, End of Banks, Trump, Sanders Ticket, What If? This is before Trump. I wrote this book before Trump got in. My idea was you had a populist on the Republican side and you had a populist on the Democrat side. What if they got together, formed their own party, and ran as one ticket? Bernie will help take care of the masses that are obviously going to need help when the banking cabal goes down. And Trump would deal with all the other stuff. They didn't take my advice, but Trump got in. This is back when they said, no way Trump's going to get in. It was my brilliant idea. I even had some bumper stickers made up. I wonder where those are. Anyway, so yes, absolutely check out the book. And let me tell you about, there's Earth Changes. That's coming up this second half of the year. Getting pushed out of the nest, e-ticket ride, the golden parachute, best laid plans, and the silver lining. I need to read this book. Anyway, let me talk about this quote. Cliff was always saying, hey, with cryptos, back when Bitcoin was $100, the tide's going out. You don't want to fight it. Get on board and ride the tide. That's the early days of hodling, before the word hodl was even invented. Cliff was on it. And he sent out this quote in one of his reports. And it has to do with getting in early and then riding it as the tide goes out. That's where we are in silver. Yes, I was on early. I bought my first silver in 1999. Actually, I probably bought it in 1980. But officially, I wasn't that into it. My grandfather had silver coins. He loved silver. So I said, yeah, I'll get some silver. And it was a gift from him. And now here we are again. A hell of a long time later, 40 years later. And the tide has now, the bad guys, the people who are selling. Now there's only two people left to sell. One is those hedgers. Hedgers are going to be hating life because they could have got the full, this is how hedging ends. And there's very few hedgers, mind you. None of the mining companies hedge. Probably the U.S. Mint is still hedging, like criminals that they are. But it's just like some big dealers and brokers of silver, because that's part of the business plan. They don't care about if the price of silver goes up or down. Their job is to have an even price of silver, utilizing hedging, and then they make the spread on what they sell it for or buy it for. But those are the only people who really need to be hedging. That's it. The 8 criminal shorts right now shouldn't even be in this market. The only reason they're there is to rig the price. And now that's getting shut down. So who's left to sell silver? Is there anybody left to sell silver? I mean, the only people selling right now are those 8 trying to make a slow transition. There's going to be violent swings up and down as this happens. But Ted Butler is correct. The official manipulation is ending. I would say watch out for BlackRock. Watch out for the hedge funds colluding together. Of course, they all collude together still. The central banks collude together. So here we are. We're at we're high tides going out, and you can either jump on the boat and ride this wave until right here. I'm going to read this again. This is such a great quote. And the flood means high tide, by the way. Cliff's a big sailor guy. I had to look up some of these. There is a tide in the affairs of men. That means things go in and things go out. In 1970s, the tide was going up until the CFTC shut down the comics practically and stole all the Hunt brothers' silver, the 100 million ounces. And then it goes back. And it's been going back for a long time. In the 1990, it came up. And then 2011, JP Morgan rigged it and it came down. We are now, the tide is moving out. Taken at the flood, that means you jump on at the beginning, which is taken at the flood leads on to fortune. That's where we're headed. If you're a silver investor, hang on tight. There's going to be violent waves up and down, but we are being brought out to sea. Omitted, all the voyage of your life is bound in the shallows and misery. On such a sea we are now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves. So hopefully you got on in silver in the mid 15, 16, 17. It's a lot easier to hang on to your silver investment as we go up over 50, as we go up over 100, as we go up over 1,000. We don't know where it'd be because the only people selling are the 8 shorts. So they're increasing their short position. Now, according to Ted, a lot of that is getting hedged through the ETFs. This is financial engineering, normal for the criminal bankers. So they'll go short on the COMEX, but they'll go long on in the ETFs. Speaking of which, silver short squeeze alert, Sprott Asset Management. One of the best, most brilliant. Eric Sprott is just brilliant. I've known him. I don't think we've ever met. We've had a couple exchanges, but he's a brilliant guy, and he runs one of the largest silver and gold companies in Canada, and he has a closed-end fund. I used to invest in that actually a long time ago. But even Eric Sprott is not going to be able to hang on to your silver if the banks go down. And he'd probably admit that too. The banks go down, how do you transact anything? But in the meantime, Sprott Silver Trust to purchase 1.5 billion of physical silver, a dropping 8.8% of annual global production. Yes and no. Yes, it's a lot of silver. How much silver is it? 75 million ounces. That's a hell of a lot of silver. But at the same time, every single day on the COMEX, that criminal exchange, 500 million ounces are traded. So what is the difference? This is physical stuff. This is stuff that JP Morgan will probably have to fork up because there's no one else who has it. All the mines are shutting down. No one else has it but JP Morgan. Eric Sprott, I'd be careful, my friend. You don't want to cross JP Morgan. And there's an interview with James Turk. James, I sent you a filing where Sprott Silver Trust just stated they are going to raise $1.5 billion to purchase physical silver. This will purchase a staggering amount of physical silver in an already tight market. Turk says, Eric, this announcement is extremely bullish news for silver. $1.5 billion at $20 an ounce equates to a jaw-dropping 75 million ounces of silver, which is mind-boggling 8.8% of annual global mining production. Well, here's the other thing. This month, July is the largest delivery month ever in silver's history. It'll be over 75 million ounces. So watch for September to be way over 75, probably. But see, that's the thing. How many ounces will JP Morgan be willing to give up? I don't think they're going to sell. I think the price is going to continue to run. I think JP Morgan has liquidated enough to satisfy the DOJ and the CFTC that'll come out and say, oh, we're heroes. We're heroes because we caught JP Morgan traders, 6 of them, rigging the markets. But we're not going to bust JP Morgan. They're going to pay a fine, but we're not going to bust them. And oh, by the way, they're out of their position so we can save face. Here's something I am just, everybody needs to scream about. The CFTC has Whistleblower Award. I think it's the DOJ. And it's a big number. If you're a whistleblower, it's a big number. For example, today, CFTC announces whistleblower awards totaling more than $1 million. The CFTC today announced it will award $1 million to 2 whistleblowers who voluntarily provided original information that led the commission to bring a successful enforcement action. The CFTC opened an investigation after the first whistleblower's information was deemed to be sufficiently specific, credible, and timely. The second whistleblower significantly contributed to the matter by providing investigative staff with first-hand information obtained through the participation in the underlying scheme. These awards stand as yet another indication of significant whistleblowers in our enforcement program. We have seen a clear trend identifying the increasing importance of whistleblowers. Well, it doesn't say who it is. Listen to this. Whistleblowers are eligible to receive between 10 and 30% of the monetary sanctions collected. All right. I am saying right now, and this is an absolute must. When the CFTC fines JP Morgan for silver market manipulation, we need to scream. We need to scream at the top of our lungs that Ted Butler deserves a whistleblower slice of that, a large whistleblower slice of it. He literally proved manipulation back in the 1980s and has been proving it every single day through all kinds of CFTC commissioners who kept scratching their head, gee, I don't know what's happening. And then JP Morgan traders actually admit that, yes, they were rigging the silver market. I don't know if this has anything to do with the silver market, but the fact that they don't say who it is or what they blew the whistle on is very telling, if you ask me. But then again, if they awarding just $1 million, that's only maybe 3 to $10 million fine. I would expect the JP Morgan fine to be well over 100 million, maybe 200. But hey, that would bring more significance and more focus on JP Morgan, CFTC, DOJ, whatever it is that they fine JP Morgan for and all the rigors of silver, they need to give a cut of that to Ted Butler. That's the reality. Anyway, yeah, very exciting times for silver. A song keeps running through my head. We've only just begun to live while lace and promises. A kiss for luck and we're on our way. We're on our tide. We've only just begun. Is that the Carpenters? So that's all I have to say today. We have jumped on the boat. The tide is clearly going out. Hang on, we got a long way to go. And it might happen in a short time. That's another song. A long way to go and a short time to get there. We gonna do what they say can be done. Remember, the only sellers are the criminal banksters, and they are supposedly being taken out, made an agreement, ensuring that their shorts aren't naked by buying into the ETFs. But they're going to have to continue to rig, or we're going to see days like this. $1 up day. Remember, Cliff's data had $5 up days going to $600. I think the first stop is going to be a little hiccup at 50. Everybody's going, oh, they're going to rig it again. Everybody run. It'll go down to 40, and then it'll run. Pretty much nonstop to $500, $600. Then it'll stop for a little while, and then it'll go in relation to gold. Right now, don't forget, $21 silver, $18.39 gold is about 85 to 1. That ratio is going to get at least 4 to 1. I think at the height of the craziness between now and about a year from now, probably maybe even this year, it might go 1 to 1. 1 to 1 with gold, that everybody would know about the manipulation. If you have gold, you're crazy not to go out and get 80 plus ounces of silver. If you're sitting there with physical gold or gold in an ETF anywhere, 85 to 1, don't forget that. And it's only because of manipulation. Throughout human history, that is not what the gold-silver ratio has been. Only since the introduction of computer rigging models by Alan Greenspan in the 1960s and 70s. Since then, everything's been rigged. And the silver-gold ratio should be, in ground is 8 to 1. At least in ground. But remember, every time you pull an ounce of gold out of the ground, it goes into a vault. Every time you pull an ounce of silver out of the ground, most of it gets used up. So that's where I get 1 to 1. The silver-gold ratio should be 1 to 1 in a freely traded market. That's probably my sell point at 1 to 1. And at that point, gold won't be $1,800. Gold will be approaching $1,000. 10,000. It'll be approaching 10,000 when silver catches up. What does that put silver? At 4 to 1? Was that $2,500 an ounce? More than 100 times what it is now. Why? Because we have 170 years of silver price manipulation. Now, will Eric Sprott get that 75 million ounces of silver? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that JP Morgan is going to dip into their coffers to give it to the Sprott Trust for humanity to invest in. It took too much time and too much effort for them and too much criminality, and they got in too much trouble for them to give Eric Sprott anything. So Eric, good luck getting that silver. I do. I want him to get it. Of course I do. And since he filed, he's probably hell of long on the COMEX right now. And it will probably demand delivery of a lot of silver in September, if not this month. He could still go in right now. Go in and buy silver and have it delivered this month in the July contract. And it's still, I think, there's over 5 million ounces still hasn't been delivered. I'll check that for private road members later today. Anyway, that's where I am. We've only just begun by the Carpenters. Is the song that keeps running through my head. Hang in there, my friends. Hey, you want to buy the Road to Roota books? They're not all right. The biggest thing I think I got wrong, and I think it's got to do with you're not gonna. I won't even say it. It's too woo woo for you guys. But there's some people I said were the good guys who have completely changed their look, their appearance, and what they're saying. Completely different people on the higher ups that I said were good guys in the beginning, but now are clearly bad guys. Could we have like what do they call it, a soul walk-in? I think there's all kinds of weird stuff going on behind the scenes. That's the woo-woo world, and I'm not afraid to go down that path. Let's figure out what's really going on. Truth and reality is the most important thing. If you want to see a movie that removes all the boundaries of what kind of we're probably going on right now in the woo-woo world, I mean, it's a pop movie. It's called Jupiter Ascending, The Harvesting of Souls. Go check that out, Jupiter Ascending. And that's all I got to say on the woo-woo side. I talk about all this stuff in all these books that I wrote going back 10, 15 years. How to find the general store, go to the Road to Roota homepage right here. Don't forget to watch this video. The latest video is always right at the top. You can check out the price of silver, the price of cryptos. Ooh, Bitcoin up 2%. Hey, imagine this. Say silver goes to $2,000, $3,000 an ounce. How many silver investors will be looking for the next best thing? And if cryptos haven't made their run, you're going to see a flow of capital into cryptos, and vice versa. If silver doesn't continue to run, you're going to see a flow of capital coming out of cryptos if cryptos run first into silver. They both are alternatives. They're standalone alternatives to the unbacked craziness of the fiat monetary system. On the Patreon page, the Road to Roota Patreon page, I just posted the latest bank bailout count, and it is staggering. Go check that out. Join the Road to Roota Patreon. Or if you want the Patreon and everything else, all Patreon articles are published on the Road to Roota private road first. Join the private road. Hit subscribe today. Oh, wait. I was going to tell you where to get the books. If you go to the public page and right down here, Word Wednesday with Paige coming out tomorrow. Interesting word tomorrow. But right here, Roota's General Store. Click on that, and you got all 4 books that you can buy. The first one's free. There you go. There you have it. Silver, gold, Bitcoin, and God. A free PDF download. Road to Roota, we give away free stuff all the time. On the private road, 1-year subscription, $2.99. You're going to get access to all the private road interviews, videos, Cliff High stuff that I have on the private road. And you're going to get shipped to your front door 100 Theta and 100 Theta Fuel. The future of the internet, the future of broadcast streaming, the future of YouTube is on Theta. Mark my. This is Bix Weir, RoadToRoota.com.